So now our update on the Washington, D.C. schools. The NewsHour special correspondent for education, John Marrow, has been tracking the progress of school leaders in two urban areas, the District of Columbia and New Orleans. Tonight, John reports on changes for teachers and administrators in D.C.'s troubled schools.
I'm asking you to take a leap of faith with me.
When the new chancellor of Washington, D.C.'s public schools first met her teaching staff in August 2007, she gave them a vote of confidence.
I believe that if we see this as a battle for our children's lives and futures, there is no one that I would rather have on my team leading this as the people in this room.
But 6 months later, Michelle Rhee had this to say.
There will be some schools where a significant amount of the teaching force will turn over. I think that we are going to need a different breed of educators.
Rhee means what she says. She just fired 98 employees in her central office, over 10% of the staff.
I think that people thought that that was going to be sort of the big shakeup for the year. But it will be rapid fire succession from here on out for as long as I am the chancellor here.
Michelle Rhee has already announced plans to close 23 schools. Now she has the power to restaff an additional 27 schools that are considered failures under the federal law known as No Child Left Behind. All in all, that's about 1,000 teachers who could have a different job or no job at all come September.
Good job on the challenge.
Some principals, like Nelson Burton, are eager to shake up their staff. Burton leads Coolidge High School. Low test scores show that his school has been failing for years.
Little, I told you once, son. It's a terrible thing to say, but half of the staff here ought not be. They just don't fit into what we're doing here, and I dare say many of them won't fit into any program where they're trying to raise student achievement.
Does that surprise you? A principal says, I wish I could fire half my teachers. They're not on board, they're not effective?
Does it surprise me? No. I've heard things like that from lots of principals.
But Rhee says that's no excuse for low expectations. She's made each principal set a goal for improving test scores.
I went in with the idea that I would lowball her and set a mark that was kind of low, that was easy to achieve. But little did I know, she was familiar with the data.
I came into those meetings with 10 years of historical test data for every single school. And for those who were sort of flatlining it, I said, this is not going to cut it long term.
She goes into her notes like, no, that's too low. No, you all can do better than that.
Burton promised to raise scores by 33% by year's end on DC's standardized math and reading exams. To meet his goal, he asked his staff to dig deeper into test results to learn where students need the most help.
If you give an assessment and that's just the end of it, then it's basically a waste of time. You want to use that data to see how to move students even further. Consistently, they pick the wrong answer, so I wanted to look at those.
Chris Crook-Magnuson chairs the math department at Coolidge. He asks teachers who are teaching the same class to give identical tests. That way he can compare students' results across classes.
I can pull up their data and see how they're doing. I can see their weaknesses, I can see their strengths, and I can use that to talk to a teacher about what they might want to work on.
So what do they need to know, or why are they making this mistake?
They don't know when it is appropriate to round, even if they do know how to round correctly.
When teachers have the opportunity to look at data in that stark a manner, they often will themselves say, okay, what's going on? And what are you doing that's producing those kinds of results?
And Rhee sees another advantage. Analyzing data this way also shows which teachers are not performing.
The domain, or we call it slope. And B is called the y-intercept. So if we have to be able to graph a linear function.
Test scores reveal that students in Ande Burhan Burhay's math class are not learning what they're supposed to. He's one of the teachers Principal Burton would like to replace. But as a member of the teachers union, he feels his job is safe.
Well, whatever action that they want to take, I'm a member of union. There are steps to be done.
In Washington, D.C., a principal cannot simply fire a teacher for being ineffective. He must first implement what's called the 90-day plan. in which teachers are offered help and 90 days to show improvement. If that doesn't work, the teacher can be fired.
The 90-day plan is a point where you're really putting in that last-ditch support to say, okay, can this teacher make it?
George Parker is president of the Washington Teachers Union. The union negotiated the current 90-day plan in 1999.
I think the 90-day plan is a balance that gives the district the right to remove a teacher who is not working up to capacity or working up to par, but it also gives the teacher the support that is necessary.
But principals don't seem to be using the 90-day plan very much. Last year, only 18 teachers out of more than 4,000 were placed on the plan. Only one was fired.
Is it too difficult to fire an ineffective teacher?
It's difficult. It's difficult.
Though Burton says he'd like to replace half of his staff, only 3 of his teachers are on the 90-day plan, and Mr. Burhay is not one of them. Burton says that excessive paperwork and difficult deadlines are the problem.
Where the real difficulty comes in is when half of your staff falls into that range. How do you fire half of your staff?